This is the House of Hockey podcast on the Hockey Podcast Network. Hockey is more than a game, it's a lifestyle. It's you, the diehard supportive fans, your favorite players who are on the team you cheer for, and the organization who supports them.
The companies that make your gear, bags, and beer league sweaters. The hockey moms and hockey dads, and everything else that makes this House of Hockey your home. Come on in. I'm Breezy.
And I'm Rae Rae.
And this is our house. What's up, everybody? Welcome to the House of Hockey podcast, episode 115. I'm one of your hosts, Breezy.
That's how you say it. 115.
115.
Not 115.
No. 115.
And I'm your other host, Rae Rae. Welcome to the episode. We're down to the conference finals, everybody. By the time this episode comes out on Tuesday, we will be in the conference finals. We will have a winner. We will have a decided team. We're recording this beforehand because we're not going to stay up until like 2 a.m. to record this. So on the night before and then have me edit it. So, you know, we love you, but
that's a lot. That's a lot to do.
That's a lot. I mean, we're no chiclets. We're not making chiclets money here. But the Western Conference final begins today, Tuesday. The Oilers will be facing the Avs. And then the Eastern Conference final begins on Wednesday as the Lightning take on fill in the blank.
Exactly. But we have a lot of other stuff that happened this past week that we're gonna touch on. So I don't even know where to start.
Well, let's start with the West, the Oilers and the Avs. Like, let's go to the Battle of Alberta.
All right. So you obviously watched a little bit of it.
Mm-hmm.
What were your thoughts? I have a lot of thoughts on it. There's a lot going on. But you didn't get to watch all the games, so.
No, I can't stay up that late. At East Coast time, it's killer, some of these games. Like, it's just, I can't stay up. And with all the overtimes, like, it's not my team playing. So I'm not staying up that late and being super stressed out and then, like, just wrecked the next day. But I'm sure a lot of you are doing that and have done that. But East Coast folks know this is like, oh, my God, it's killer. But I guess I don't know that I want to admit that I was wrong about the Oilers, like that McDavid and Draisaitl are enough to win a Stanley Cup. Like, I'm not ready to fully admit that I was wrong in that because they still have to get through this because they're still not in the Stanley Cup final and they haven't won a cup. So I'm treading water here with my comments. I will keep my thoughts about the Oilers a little more subdued. I really want to see how they're going to do against the Avs because the Avs are like the number one team. And as we know, everybody's like, they're going to win. They have way more depth, I think, than the Oilers. But to talk about the Calgary series, I really just think Calgary just missed it. Like they have it, right? Like they have so much more, I think, all around, but they don't have that experience like the Oilers do, I think, in these situations. But I think Calgary is going to be something to watch in the future. Also, fully convinced that Ben Stelter is the good luck charm for the Oilers. He just had his 6th birthday. If you don't know who that is, he's a young boy who has cancer, who has become a friend of the team. And he's sort of like, is this another Layla Anderson scenario where she became the good luck charm for the Blues and then they won that year? I don't know. Is that crass to say that? Like, I feel like bad saying that. Is it bad to say that?
No, I mean, I think that obviously has something to do with it, right? They have a little bit of fire under them, but
anyway, those are my thoughts. McDavid's a machine. Like he's playing all the positions. He's passing. He got like second assists on half of his goals, right? Like he's passing the puck to someone else who's passing it back to him. Does he get a second assist on that? No. Like, but I don't think so. I don't know how that works, but it's like he's just a machine. So I have nothing bad to say about that.
That's good. That's good.
What do you think?
I'm thinking a lot, and there's a lot, and I think it was partially because I don't want to say called out, but I think everyone falls. I don't want to say victim, but everyone kind of thinks like, and it was brought up in a social comment as well that I saw on from NHL, that the NHL often will pinpoint a single player for marketing purposes, right? Mm-hmm. But in hockey, it's always a we thing, never an I thing. But the NHL in general and ESPN, TNT, all these, marketing and news sources will always pinpoint a single player. So I think it often gets into people's heads like McDavid, right? And I think I was wrong for thinking that as well, because the Oilers generally, I mean, they do have more than just, Connor and Leon. Gosh. Yep. So, I mean, they do trickle down, and I think that they all collectively play well together. It's just that the team in general is overshadowed by the stardom of Leon and Connor, right? So, I think when it comes to it, the team in general, they perform when they need to perform. If I'm saying that right. So they hit when they need to hit, they score when they need to score. They play defensively when they need to. And I think that as a whole, they're playing with purpose. And whether or not you want to say that Ben's supporting them.
Wait, did you say progress?
Purpose.
I thought you said progress, like the Canadians say. They say progress, not progress.
They do. I don't think I said that. I think I said
no,
purpose.
You didn't. I just wanted you to say progress, but you said purpose, which is completely different, I've been having a lot of that this weekend. Sidebar, really quick, hold your thought. I asked Antoni, I said, are you eating butter? Because I heard the butter dish, but I didn't hear anything else. I'm like, are you eating butter? And she goes, no. I go, are you eating butter? Oh, yeah, I'm eating a toast with butter. I said, okay, that's what I just asked you. And you said no twice. She said, I thought you asked if we were out of butter. Carry on. I'm just hearing things. It's fine.
That's fine. I mean, I say sorry a lot, so.
Yeah, sorry. That's a Canadian thing.
Yes.
Progress was the word you said?
Purpose.
Okay.
Oh, boy.
Purpose. Okay.
Yeah.
The Oilers play with purpose.
The Oilers are playing with purpose, and whether or not that Ben is a main driving factor that or not, yes, I think that is the case, but I also think that the Oilers have a lot riding on them, and I think that they have a lot to prove. I think they are the underdogs, even though you have these two guys with absolute stardom. But I think the rest of the team is overshadowed by that simply because those are the only players you only really hear of on the Oilers, except for when Kane comes in, and then you hear a little bit about that. But I mean, if you really trickle down and see who else is there, they really do have it. And I, for one, should bite my tongue next time I only talk about one or two players. But I don't know. I think that this next series against the Avalanche, and I'm gonna pinpoint them again, and I probably shouldn't, but McKinnon versus McDavid is going to be wild for the sake of speed. But I think that the Avs are good on paper. They obviously show it. When you look at it on paper, you're like, they should be dominating the Oilers. But going back to, overshadowing, I think that the Oilers are just as good on paper. It's just they might not balance out throughout regular season, if that makes sense. So exciting. Yeah, it's going to be, I think it's going to be a series better than the Battle of Florida and the Battle of Alberta. So
I agree. I think this series, to see such talent on both teams in so many different ways, just seeing how they are able to match each other, though, like it's either going to be, I think it's probably going to be very low scoring series because, like, I think they're so well matched as far as like a lot of the elements of speed and skill and determination, because both teams I think are, they've been close, they've dabbled in this role, and they both, I think, are feeling what you were saying, how they have a lot to prove. And I think that I would be surprised if they were very high scoring games. I just don't know, unless they like both really fall apart and are unable to shut one another down, right? But I feel like they're going to be more matched, and it's going to be a lot harder. And I think it's not going to be as easy to score goals.
Yeah.
What do you think? Am I wrong?
No, I don't think you're wrong. I think that's obviously going to come down to, defense and their goalies, and Darcy Kemper obviously can play the heck out of that net. But same with Mike Smith, and you have two completely different goalies there, right? So,
yeah.
But very similar at the same time. So, I mean, I would be surprised if there were, 5, 6, 7 goal games.
Yeah.
That teeter-totter on both sides. Like, are we going to see a 5-5 matchup? I don't know. I would assume, me personally, it'd probably be more of a 3-4 or a 3-2 matchup game. But only time will tell. Who knows? I mean, there's such scoring power on both sides. I mean, that can be completely wrong. So I've been wrong before. I am terrified to make any sort of prediction here because I seem to always be wrong. So I should just do the opposite. But
you're not always wrong.
You should see my bracket. It's pretty bad.
Well, good thing you're only doing $2 a play, right?
That's true. That is true.
Could we talk a little bit more about the Avs while we're talking about them? And then can we go back to Calgary in a second? Can we stick with this dynamic?
Yeah.
So there was two things about the Avs that came up that I thought were interesting, which I didn't really know, but the Avalanche's Josh Manson, his father, former player, now assistant coach for the Oilers, they're going to be facing each other. Is that not going to be bananas? I didn't have enough time to like go and research the last time like a father coach was facing against a son on the ice, you know what I mean? Right. Or even coaching a son. I'm sure there is somebody, I mean, like maybe like this, I don't know, one of the legendary families of hockey. Like I wouldn't be surprised, but this is so exciting. And did you see the quote that Josh said about his dad? His dad was like, win, what was it, game 6? Yeah, with the Blues.
Yeah.
I want you to win game 6 so I can see my granddaughter.
Yeah.
Because they haven't seen her, I'm sure, like traveling countries, Canada, COVID, all these kinds of things. It's their first grandchild. So I just think that's going to be interesting. There was a whole article. Obviously, his dad was like, I'm not coaching him. Like, I don't coach him. I don't ever offer, like he has his own coaches. I keep my, stuff out of it. But like, how crazy. Could you imagine if your dad was on the opposing team trying to beat you on the ice? Like, that's just crazy to me.
That is crazy. And I think that's just going to add to the intensity of the series, right? So
yeah. And then the other thing about the Avs, which is related to me, the Chicago Blackhawks, is Darren Helm. He scored the clinching goal for the Avs in game 6. And
Which good for him.
Right?
Good for him.
He did that 13 years earlier to get the series winner for the Red Wings when they eliminated the Chicago Blackhawks.
Yeah.
I saw that. Did you see that clip like of the goals? They like lined up the goals and you could see like the one from the Blackhawks and the Red Wings and then this one. Like it was pretty cool.
I didn't see it. I was watching the game though, and then when he scored, I was like, good for that guy. Poor dude's been stuck on the Red Wings, not really making it far. And then he comes out and then just crushes that goal. And I think that's what hockey's all about, right? I mean,
Yeah.
whether or not you're a fan of the team, but if you know somewhat of the player's history, you got to know that like he probably felt so good after that. And that goal alone could have been better than the last 50 goals he's had in his career, you know?
Right. Like those are the goals you remember. That's what we hear
Yeah.
from the players when we interview them, right? Is like
Right.
those kinds of goals that are the ones that really stick out in their minds.
Yeah.
But yeah, those were some fun headlines, facts that I saw. Okay, before we go to the East, I wanted to talk about the insane amount of injuries that the Calgary Flames players had. Holy moly.
Pretty bad.
Okay. Chris Tanev had a dislocated shoulder and was still playing.
I thought they said he also had a sprained neck at one point.
Yeah, he had like major. I shared them to our thing because I was like, I'm not going to remember. Tanev says he dislocated his shoulder. He'll be having surgery next week. Says his recovery will be 4 to 6 months, but he was still playing that series, right?
He was, yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Bananas. And then Nikita Zadorov had 3 fractured ribs he suffered in round 1 and managed to still play defensively. Like 3 fractured ribs. Are you kidding? So many people, like, you can't even breathe. The pain is so bad when that happens. Like, what? Just insane. Hockey guys are just bananas. Like, they're just nuts. And the drive and the passion and the love, I would imagine. I don't really think in this day and age we have coaches saying shoot them up and put them on the ice. Like, I think a lot of it is left up to the players to decide. There's so much protocol nowadays with team doctors that like they have to clear them. And like the whole Sidney Crosby story in the playoffs, like he was not cleared to play. Like the doctors were like, no. And he was like, I'm going to play. And the coach is like, oh, you know, I trust him to make the best decision for himself. And like, you know, I don't know that you can really argue with Sidney Crosby. So maybe that's an exception to the rule, but like, you know, I think that's just nuts. So
yeah. I mean,
I
it
don't
all
know.
goes back to, like, I mean, Leon was playing with like a sprained upper ankle or something, but
Right.
I always
Like
think
it's
back,
not like it's gotten better, his ankle, by the way.
no,
Like he's not
no,
resting his ankle.
right.
He's still playing, you know?
I always just think back to, I want to say it was 2017 when the Penguins were playing the Preds. I think it was that series
Mm-hmm.
where Nick Bonino was playing with a broken foot. He broke his foot during the game, I think it was. He knew it was broken, but he continued to play, and I believe he
Oh,
scored like the game-winning goal.
oh my God.
And he could you imagine skating on a broken foot, blocking shots with a broken foot? I mean,
No.
and I'm sure those dates are probably wrong, so forgive
It's
me,
a
but I just always go back to that. I'm like,
yeah.
can you believe? I mean, there's people that play with like insane injuries, and you're like, the playoffs. I mean, during a regular season, you obviously can't do that, but
Right.
the playoffs are just such a like a wild time that I think that's
Yeah.
what makes it great, right? I mean, obviously, you
Yeah.
don't want anybody to be hurt, but knowing these guys are going through so much, and that just makes the sport so much tougher than anything else. And
Yeah.
um,
That's why hockey guys are this is the toughest sport.
yeah,
Like I have no sympathy
probably
for
next to
like,
rugby. Rugby
well,
could be there,
yeah.
too, but
Yeah. But like I
yeah,
have no sympathy for the athletes in any of the other sports. Like maybe if like a pitcher had a broken finger and he was still throwing the ball, which he wouldn't because you can't hold the ball. Like it
right,
just like it's not possible, right? In a lot of
yeah,
these sports, right? To actually like in that specific of an example. But I'm just like,
yeah.
oh, you guys are wusses. I just can't. Oh, it's gross. I want to see some tough guys like just go out there and like the passion to play through an injury like that.
Yeah.
That's what gets me about these headlines. Like it's so shocking because they don't disclose this, right? Like they don't disclose it during playoffs, obviously, because they don't want the other team taking advantage of that, right? But you can tell a little bit on the ice when somebody's like if you really watch your team and you really know your players, like you could see when somebody's a little off. But and then Marchie, this is not obviously he does not play for the Flames, but Brad Marchand underwent arthroscopic labral repair on both of his hips after playing in the Stanley Cup playoffs. What? Your hips? Like, are you serious? Like hips in hockey? That's like that's everything, right? That's your power. That's like how you get anywhere, right? Like, I mean, it's like, how did he do that? How on earth did he do that?
I have no
How
idea.
do they do it?
I don't know. They must have some serious adrenaline to have to get through some pain like that. I mean, I'm dealing with like, I think a sprained pinky toe, much like you have done.
Right.
And it's like, you feel like you can't walk right. And it's like,
Yeah.
these guys are playing with, I don't know.
I know.
I need to
I don't
toughen up
know.
here.
This week's episode of the House of Hockey podcast is brought to you by
Hockey fans. The pursuit for the Stanley Cup is on, and DraftKings Sportsbook, an official sports betting partner of the NHL, has an unbelievable offer for the most exciting playoffs in sports. Oh, yeah. New customers can bet $5 on any team to win and get $100 in free bets no matter what, win or lose. Looking to turn a small bet into a big payday during playoffs? With DraftKings same game parlays, you can do just that. Create your own parlay by combining multiple bets like which team will win, how many goals will be scored, and more. It's your shot at an even bigger payout. DraftKings is safe, secure, and reliable. Best of all, you can deposit and withdraw your cash whenever you want. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app now. Use promo code THPN. That's THPN for the Hockey Podcast Network. Bet $5 on any NHL team to win and get $100 in free bets no matter what. That's code THPN at DraftKings Sportsbook, an official sports betting partner of the NHL. Minimum age and eligibility restrictions apply. See show notes for details.
what was this statistic you had about McDavid with no points in the regulation and then getting the
I think
overtime?
that just goes back to performing and playing when they need to, right? So that entire last game, it was game 5. McDavid had no points during the entire 4. It was 4 or 4 on, not 4 on 4. It was tied 4-4. That's what I'm trying to say. In regulation, they go into overtime. The only point he gets in that game is that OT winning goal. And
that was the second assist he gave himself.
Yeah, and I'm telling you, that celebration that he had reminded me of all those clips that you see from the olden days of, Gretzky going down doing those, sellies and whatnot. That's going to be the clip that they're always going to show probably of him now, because you could just see how happy he was and relieved he was. And that was probably my favorite part of that entire series was that last celebration that just he had, because I just thought it was, I don't know, just something about it.
Yeah. I think we can circle back one round and go back to the Battle of Florida, which ended with the Lightning sweeping. And I already forgot who they played. I've already moved on.
Panthers. They play the Panthers.
Thank you. I knew that, the Battle of Florida.
Hello,
Rachel. Jesus.
We were chatting about it because we had originally said that we didn't think that it would be a sweep.
We didn't.
And then it ended up being a sweep. And although we were like, could it be? Probably not. Yada, yada, yada. You had mentioned last week that the reason why the Lightning do so well is because they had a beach day.
Oh, right. And the Panthers went to the strip club.
Did not have a beach day. They had another day started with B's, apparently. Booties, maybe. So,
Booties and boobies. They had a booties and boobies day.
yeah.
If that's true. It was a rumor.
Maybe, yeah. Um,
Either way,
that's
it just
just
fell
that's just
apart.
wild.
They just
Yeah,
fell
that's just,
apart.
it just
The
seemed like they
Panthers.
weren't playing, and um gosh, I don't really have any other comments. I think it's just I expected more out of the Panthers, I think. I think whoever ends up playing the Lightning, they're seriously going to need to come out strong. The Lightning have had a lot of rest time. It's more bonding time that they've had.
Yeah.
Um,
Again, reminder everyone, we're filming this before the Rangers and
Canes.
the Kane series. God, my brain is just like I've already just like I've forgotten all the first round. I couldn't tell you. I couldn't tell
Yeah.
you who they played. Like I'd really have to think really hard.
You
It's
know,
like
I
I go
think,
off the short term and I'm moving into the just current.
yeah, no, I
Are you
think it's
that way?
because,
My brain
yeah,
just doesn't work like that with sports. Like,
yeah, I think it's because we do this every week, and so we're so
yeah,
focused on certain things that like I forget. I used to be so good with stats, with players on each teams,
yeah,
with crazy like headlines and just kind of like analyzing certain things. And now because we're so focused on like giving like certain information each week and stuff that we have to like, provide, I've forgotten about everything, and that is so
yeah.
bad. That is
I
so bad.
know. I think that's such one of the differences between the way guys look at this. Is it? I don't know if it's a guy thing, but I think it's a lot more common. Like guys can go. Like I went on a friend of the show's podcast. It's called Second City Sports as a guest talking hockey, and he was like, "What's your favorite memory from the 2013 series when the Blackhawks played the Red Wings?" And I was like, I don't know. I don't remember what happened that long ago. Like, I couldn't tell you. And like, my brain doesn't work like that. I have no idea. Like, I couldn't tell you who they played in the first. I couldn't tell you anything about it. I couldn't tell you
Yeah.
anything about it. I just like, it's gone. I'd have to go back and like read everything. And then it would like trigger some stuff. But my brain is like not conditioned to commit that kind of content to the long-term memory. Like I have to really sit and think like, how long has it taken me for freaking figure out which Kachuk plays on which team?
That's
Just
true.
barely getting that right. Like
That is true.
it's just like the level of importance on my mind is like, it doesn't really, it's not there. Is that you too? How do you do? I don't know.
To
Like,
some
could you tell
extent.
me your favorite memory from the second round of the Kings in the 2012 Stanley Cup playoffs? Who do they even play? I couldn't tell you.
No, I mean, I think it has to be like a monumental time that like sticks with you, right? Like
Yeah.
I think I remember when the Kings, I think it was that first series, or no, it was the third
See?
series in the the
Exactly.
2012 where Dustin Penner scored a goal, and that's like what made them move on. But I think it's certain things like that where you're like, and then I go back and I'm like, wait, was it that series? And what it was Dustin Penner, but like who was it?
Right.
But
Couldn't
no, I
like
mean,
my brain just like doesn't work that way.
but
I'd have
it
to
doesn't mean that you suck at hockey or you don't know
right.
anything about it or you don't know anything about baseball if you're watching this. It's just the fact of like, I guess, I mean, it just depends on what got going on in your regular life. I guarantee you, though, if you were to put anybody in a situation like what we do, like each week, and you cover like everything from
Yeah.
top to bottom, and you're focused on trying to provide as much information, and then we bring on a guest and we like are telling them like this is what we're going to talk about, but then you throw like a hard-hitting question like,
Yeah.
oh yeah, who's on the third line and like
Right.
the fourth, I don't know, it's
Like couldn't
I
tell
don't
you.
think people would know.
No. And so when we got off the air, I was like, hey, next time you're gonna have to like give me a heads up so I can like dig back and like try to remember something like that because this is not how my mind works, boo.
No.
But it was
And then
still
you
fun.
feel dumb, and then you're like, I should know that because it's
Yeah.
my team, but like that's a long time ago.
Yeah. And I think, I was explaining to him that like 2010 was when I really, and I've said it here,
Yeah.
if you go back and listen to episode 1 of the podcast, like 2010 was really when I really started following hockey, the Blackhawks, like anything before that, I didn't follow it. I didn't watch it. I didn't fall in love with it until then. So it's my knowledge too is like a little bit I'm missing a big chunk of hockey timeline, right? And I do my best to, listen to interviews with other people on other podcasts to grow my understanding of history of different teams. But I was like, I wasn't doing a weekly podcast where I was like watching hockey every night, to like have stuff to talk about. So it's just a little bit different. But anyway, that was a very long.
If this makes you feel any better, Tracy, our friend Tracy of the pod, she had tagged me in a photo, and it was when she was last on, or it was when she had her episode on. I was like, oh my gosh, it's crazy. It's been a year already. And she goes, it's been 3. I was like,
it's been 3
or 2, maybe. I don't know. It's been 2 years. It's been 2 years.
See, more examples, guys. Just because we can't remember that doesn't mean our opinions are invalidated. Right?
Timelines are crazy. I don't know. Maybe we're just making stuff up at this point, but it's true.
Next week, guys, we'll dive a little bit more into our thoughts on the Eastern Conference final, because we're recording this before the team that they're playing is determined. But I had something I wanted to talk about, though, in regards to the New York Rangers that's already happened. And it's Shesterkin, who is a beast. And 37 saves to win game 6, and he had 2 assists. The goalie is assisting goals. But that's like McDavid assisting himself for the OT winner, like second assisting. Like what? This is just nuts. You don't see this, especially in the playoffs. I feel like this is just so rare, at least in my short time of being very involved in the hockey world. But I love to see it. I think I was talking about this too, and I was saying that, like, what big shoes Igor had to fill in taking over in New York, where you have Henrik Lundqvist, who is a legend in the league, around the world even. He's like one of the most recognized hockey players outside of this new generation of players. And to step in and be as incredible as he is, and has had this year, what is it? I don't know how many seasons it's been. I don't know. Don't ask us numbers, guys. But either way, I think this is his second season.
Yeah.
Like fully in this role. And it's just incredible to see, and him being so calm under pressure and just playing so well. I think he's going to become, if he stays on this path, he could become somebody like a Vasilevsky with the years and the experience and that calm and that just sort of like ability to see the game the way he does.
Right. No, I agree. I think that he's got some finesse about him that's like different than somebody else. And I think it's a breath of fresh air for Rangers fans and for the Rangers team and organization. And not that Lundqvist was, I mean, we can't even put him into any category, but I just think that the Rangers organization, and like from head to toe, plus all the fans, their heart was always with Lundqvist. So to think about having someone else come in, maybe it was a little bit unknown. Maybe they would have wanted, could a Fleury come over and like be there and the next guy, but then you would have heartbreak again if he got traded or whatever. So I think having, Igor come in and be that guy, again, big shoes to fill, but I think he's doing a pretty good job. And maybe he's not necessarily filling those big shoes. Maybe he's fulfilling his own shoes and making his own path on the Rangers. And I think that it is a great thing for everybody, the whole entire, city of New York. And that feels weird saying the city of New York, but it's kind of It's New York, right? Yeah.
New York City.
New York
Usually.
City. So
But
anyway,
I like the city of New York. That's like way more serious.
That's my finesse on that one.
It's like you don't say Los Angeles City, right? Like it's the city of Los Angeles. So that's probably why.
You would say LA City when it comes to
I know what?
like police departments and fire departments. LA City, yeah, that's what it is.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh,
Because
I
there's
would have
LA
just been
City and
like
LA County.
LAPD.
Yeah, it
Yeah.
was LAPD. But fire in the fire department, it's LA City or LA County.
Oh.
Fun
Oh, I
fact.
know what you're saying. I know what you're saying.
Yeah.
But yeah, you would not say like, I'm going to Los Angeles City.
No, you'd
Like
be
you
like,
could
I'm
say like,
going to the city of LA.
yeah, city of
Yeah.
LA, right? Like the city of New York.
Right.
That sounds weird to me. Is it because it's named New York? Like it's New York's two New Yorks?
Yeah, I think so.
That why it's
Yeah.
confusing to my brain?
I
Add
think
it to
so.
the list,
NYC.
folks.
It's good for the NYC.
Yeah.
But then do you
New
say
York
the?
City.
It,
No.
too far
That's an LA thing, adding a the.
adding a the, yeah. There we go.
That's an LA thing. Um we digress.
Yes.
What else is left? Anything more?
Today, yeah,
What?
today, Sunday, Jason Spezza announced his retirement after 19 seasons. He played for Ottawa. He was drafted second overall by the Ottawa Senators, played for Dallas, and played for the Maple Leafs. And he's going to join the Leafs head office immediately, which I think is a fantastic move um, for everybody, for the Maple Leafs. Holy crap. They
Hopefully.
need that. They need that. So he recorded 995 points throughout his 1,248 career regular season games and collected 76 points in all playoff games that he has been in. And again, he was the first round, second overall pick, and he has a laundry list of achievements. I was going to list them out, but it is a lot. And we all know that I can't talk for long periods of time before I start like messing words up. So, great season. I think he's probably one of the most respected players he's so recognizable. And I think people are always going to respect him in certain way, even though your team, may not be one of the teams that he's played for, but I don't think there's anybody that will say anything bad about, Spets. So congrats to him. And I think he's going to do really well in the head office. So
I think they need somebody of this generation of play, of his generation of play in there. I mean, did he make a big difference with the boys this season?
I think he was definitely a backbone for sure.
He was definitely what?
A backbone for sure.
Backbone.
He's always kind of a backbone guy. He brings a lot to the room. So I think what he can bring to the head office will bring a lot of respect, and maybe not so much like what we've talked about, like, the flashing lights of Toronto and the Maple Leafs. So a lot of things maybe could be joked at, maybe not taken so seriously. Maybe that's the wrong terms, but I think having him in there and the amount of respect that all those players have, and I think the amount of respect that his colleagues will have is going to be, I think it's going to make a difference for sure. What that difference is, I don't know. Only time will tell, but we got to wait till the new season starts, but we still got to get through these playoffs and a Stanley Cup line. So,
yeah, it'll be interesting to see how much the head, like front office guys give Spez, like how much input are they going to really take from him, and how are they going to use that to get a team that can get out of the first round of the playoffs. I think there's a lot to be seen, and obviously there's stuff that goes on behind the scenes that we don't ever get to know, but I think you can tell by what happened. Whoa, my hair looked crazy there for a second. I got it cut. It always happens, guys, with the short hair thing. But I get it cut like the first week or two. It just kind of is very Jim Carrey. But Anyway, that's, I don't know. I lost my train of thought. I'm done. I'm done talking now.
Okay. Well, I think that's all we have this week. We'll have more next week.
Thanks for coming over to our House of Hockey podcast and hanging out with us. We'll be back next week with a brand new episode. And in the meantime, you can follow us on social media. Just look for House of Hockey podcast. We'll be back next week.